And welcome to another episode of Funny Talk with Mangelli and Max. This week particularly special because it's a funny talk with Goldberg and Max. My
Sounds
special
like a
guest co-host, our first ever guest co-host, Larry Goldberg, good friend,
woohoo.
comedian, raconteur. Uh, the other things he does, I won't talk about. If you want to talk about, you're welcome to. But before you do, can I go on a little bit?
Absolutely.
I wanted to thank our sponsor, Jack of J. Irwin Productions, without whose generosity and support, Funny Talk with Bongelli and Max would probably still be on the air, but we'd feel lamer not having a sponsor. Jack at J. Irwin Productions puts on wonderful comedy shows. If you're interested in producing a fundraiser, get a comedian to come and do comedy for you in the living room. COVID times are nearing an end, but you can still get a comic for for like $5. A comic will come and clean your bathroom, drive like 2.5 hours to get to your bathroom and drive back. More than $5, like $15 an hour. So, and they'll be happy. Feed them. Anyway, write to Jack at jirwinproductions.com. Tell him, don't tell him Doug sent you. Tell him you heard about it somewhere and it's none of his business where you heard it from. Okay. I've been having a bourbon, Larry, because it's my way of coping at around, you know, this time.
Oh, nice for you. I'm obviously at the beach and
Yeah.
I don't have a drink in my hand.
Good. You want me
Although
to beckon one of the guys? Come on, get a pina colada.
no, I'm waiting for my shot at tequila so I can get pulled over by the state police and blow a .02 and maybe go to jail.
If you're lucky, you go to jail. If you're unlucky, you become. I was watching the trial. This is also a first for Funny Talk. We're actually going to air this show the same night that we're recording it. So I don't know if you've been following, but I've been following this trial. It's not funny at all, so we should not talk about it. But
No, keep it light, Doug. Keep it light, man.
how do you keep it light, Larry? Like
Uh,
like yeah. Okay, so go and sing and dance now. You
oh, I was gonna do song and dance. I was gonna tell you I'm a song and dance man now.
are you?
Absolutely.
Lucy, throw
In
me
my,
my top hat and cane. Did you watch Fred Astaire and Gene Kelly? And there were very few movies on like on the weekend growing up.
I think you are
A little,
aging out, Doug.
I, I.
You're
So
aging
Larry,
out.
I wanted you to know. Not only
Yep.
are you our first guest co-host, um, but you may have heard my my true co-host, the co-host of my heart, Tom Mangelli, was tested positive for COVID. Very
Oh
quickly
no.
ran into symptoms. Got admitted to the hospital Thursday. They have been giving him intravenous stuff. He's feeling fine, knock on wood. But he wasn't
Getting
thinking he would make
the
it
Trump
tonight.
cocktail. Is he getting the Trump cocktail?
I've been drinking alcohol. That was the one thing Trump said, however stupidly, that might have had some sense. Like when I talk to people, I'd gargle with bourbon. Nothing's
Or is he
living through
getting?
that.
Or is Mr. Mangelli getting the Clorox treatment?
I know hospital is a horrible place to be. I've been in one, unfortunately, too many times with my dad. Um, but they're the safest place to be, you know? And
Well,
I told Tom not to be angry at the nurses because they do all the heavy lifting. And
they
God bless them. They really
they
do.
they do. Shout out to you, Tom, my brother. Get better soon. Love you.
Get better soon. You love him. If you loved me, you wouldn't want him getting better. We could do this. This is our, come on, let's run with it. Tom who?
Yeah.
He died, by the way, I want to lodge a complaint about Tom. He touched me inappropriately. I just, and I caught him sniffing my hair. All those things. He did it like 15 times.
Sleepy Joe Tom.
I swear to God, I thought Biden should come out. I really wanted me. He has to wait until he gets out of office. He should have done it before, but I wanted him to come out with a line of fragrant shampoos. I thought it would be with a picture of him like leaning around a woman sniffing her hair from behind on the packaging. And what would you? Yeah, you'd call it. I don't know. I can't say I respect him. It's kind of like having a grandfather like running the ship, it's, you don't know where you're going, but it's you're moving in the right direction. He's got some common sense to him. And I'm not worried about starting a nuclear war with another country,
Unless he forgets.
Huh? What?
Unless he forgets.
Oh, that button? That was the one?
Of that combo?
They're really playing it up, though. They're playing it up, and they're totally forgetting our former presidents. But anyway, listen, we should keep it light. A good friend of mine told me. So, Larry, I was beginning to thank you. Not only are you our first guest co-host, congratulations. Okay, yeah. But I wanted you to know that you are definitely, you are, I can't think of any comic I like more than you. Except for like Tom.
Except for like Tom, Bobby, 20 other comics, but it's okay.
Suzanne Linfante, Carlos Vera, Randy Simon Lupo, Sandy Ellers, Julia Scotti, Buddy Flip.
You're so funny. I love you, Doug.
You too. I do too. You too. I loved you the first night, and we go way, well, you go back to like probably my first night. I did New Talent Night at the Cove for 2 years, and I started to get embarrassed. I love doing it. I love doing it there. But that and the radio show. But I started thinking, you and I have been on an awful lot of shows together over the years.
We sure have. We are.
So my favorite was Bill Aronson's birthday party, where you may or may not remember I inappropriately suggested that his nephew was doing his niece kind of in front of their mother. That was inappropriate.
Doug, you're such a mess. You're such a mess. How's that bourbon? What are you drinking tonight? Let's go other topics.
Woodford Reserve and 7-Up.
Nice.
L'chaim. Happy Passover.
Yeah, L'chaim.
What is it? Woodford Reserve. Yeah, it doesn't have a U in it, but if you, with the two O's together in Woodford, it's kind of like an oo, which I think counts as kosher.
Ooh.
Woodford. The kosher version.
Did you
happen to know if bourbon?
Did you do your Passover?
Stephanie and I did a Passover with her son, and my youngest joined us via Zoom, and her daughter joined us via Zoom from Heidelberg. It was an international. My son is in Oregon. It was
Heidelberg.
It was a Passover, and we spanned. How many hours did we spend? 9 hours. 9 hours of time.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and we found a Seder, a Haggadah, that was like over. It was like over in 5 minutes. It was great.
That's the way it should be.
It was great. It was online. We shared it. We went through some serious Seders growing up. How was your family with satyrs? What were satyrs like for you growing up?
We did the wham bam thank you ma'am version. 5 minutes, and then on to the food.
My father was particularly serious, and my mother came
I
from
know
a
what.
relatively orthodox, almost orthodox family. Very, very, but yeah, I always
I
found Passover depressing.
I won't do it anymore. I mean, it takes me a year to pass the matzah.
That should be the name of the holiday.
It's like Gorilla Glue for your insides, you know.
I long ago realized that nobody really knows the reason for the principles of a kashrut laid out in Leviticus, but a lot of them probably were for health reasons, and one of them was probably you should throw out that stuff that's been fermenting in the bottom of your sack because it's probably got insects in it. And I learned, my ex came from Italy. We had like 20 different names of pasta, and so we'd never go through it. And all these obscure pasta shapes, but she kept them all. And come Passover, I wasn't particularly religious, but I remember one year looking in one of the pasta boxes hiding in the back, and it was filled with insects. So the Jews, they had their ideas. If you don't cook pork enough, you get trichinosis from it. Cook your food. Don't eat carrion. Not a good idea. It's like, look what that animal is doing. Why would you want to eat it?
That's why all Jewish princesses do carry out.
One of my favorite cartoons. One of my favorite cartoons was a picture
Pepe Le
of,
Pew?
Huh?
Pepe Le Pew?
No, it was. I think it was a New Yorker cartoon, but it was a picture of two vultures walking up to an airplane stairway that's attached to a plane. So you see them. The old days, you'd walk up the airplane ramp, and in their talons as they're walking up, and each of them is carrying. One is a dead skunk and another has like a dead squirrel or something. And there's a sign just at the bottom of the walkway going up to the plane, the stairway, that says no carrion. And Tom would yell at me for that taking, it's a cartoon. You took 4 minutes telling a cartoon that had one line. Anyway, guilty.
He's right. You gotta shorten that setup, dog.
Listen,
come on.
I think you and I would agree on some Jewish comedians we know who could take a 5-second line and turn it into a seminar.
You mean S?
I won't mention any names. So what else? We also share a high school.
Wait. Hold on. Okay. Before you get to the high school.
Okay, you go where you want.
So another thing we have in common is my ex-wife was Italian also. So we're like, you and I are just like.
Did you get to Italy?
No, I never got to Italy. I mean, she was American Italian, but
mine was born in Italy.
I don't know which is worse. Mine was in a Philadelphia family, if you know what I mean. So we'll just leave it at that.
I don't kind of do. I'm thinking like Brooklyn. It's like translate Brooklyn to Philly with guns. Am I close?
Pretty close. I didn't pick up on the subtle cues like the oversized freezer outside in the garage or the little boat rides around Staten Island. I mean, I was a little slow. So, but I did learn one thing, and I think you understand this. It's called gravy, not sauce. There you go.
I make both. I make a bolognese. I make a wonderful bolognese. Do you cook, Larry? Since we're talking about Italians, we should talk about cooking. Because what are the Jews famous for cooking? Gefilte fish. It's not.
No.
Hey, look, I got
I'm
some
a,
herring. Let me throw some sour cream on that. You got onions? Okay, that's a meal.
I eat whatever the vultures eat, just like you said before. Carry on.
I made a 3 hour brisket. That was my Passover. I made a 3 hour
That
brisket.
is that enough
It
time
was
for a
good.
brisket, Doug?
It was okay. It was
You
okay.
want? You want? I should eat some brisket. I'll eat some brisket.
This year I forgot to throw some grape jelly in though. Last year I did that. I was playing around and it came out really good.
So what's better? Because we just had St. Patty's Day. Corned beef or brisket?
I've
That is
made both recently and they're both really good. Um, I know the answer, brisket, because it's a lot less expensive. And you can do a corned beef decently in 2 hours. You're right. A brisket, 3 hours. I last year I might have done it. It could have been like 4.5 hours even. It was like almost too tender, you know?
Yep. Making me
So
hungry, making me thirsty.
I
I
know
got
it's funny
nothing.
stuff. Brisket.
So you were saying about Summit. I think we're both from Summit. We
Yeah.
grew up. But
Yeah.
yeah.
It's really sad. I'm broadcasting from my bedroom growing up as a kid. This is now my
I noticed
broadcast
the
room.
you've got that really cool 60s 70s paneling there.
I put it up myself with my friend who went on to be like the director of pediatric medicine at Yale or something like that. And here I am.
Dougie, the Dougie Wuggy, the poor schlub. You're schlubbing it in Summit.
Yeah, I know. I know. So you weren't you're where are you from originally? Are you from
Summit?
Summit?
No, I mean Boston. I'm from Boston, so I love Boston. I love all things Celtics, Red Sox, Bruins, and Patriots, and formerly Tom Brady. So,
Okay.
so
All I know from Boston is Cheers and Go Bears. Or is that the wrong city? That's Chicago. Sorry. Oh, you know what I know from Boston?
the Bears.
I got into Boston University. I didn't go there. I also toured Brandeis. But while I was there, I was staying with some friends at Boston University. I forget how I got to them, but and I love the city. I love Boston. I've been there a few times. But I remember one night they said, "Hey, you want to go down to the combat zone and beat up whores?" And I thought, maybe Boston University isn't right for me. Because I would rarely do that in Summit as an activity. You ever go downtown Summit and beat up the whores, Larry? You remember that at the behind the ice cream shop?
Behind Chicken Delight, or
I was thinking of Chicken Delight I love that chicken. We used to do that like frequently. I love that place.
I had great chicken.
And I don't know if you remember, was it called the Magic Fountain at the time? It used to be
Yeah,
a
now
DQ years ago across from Tatlock Field, I think,
yep.
where I took tennis lessons. Yeah. Anyway,
And
when
like
I left Summit for St. Louis, it was like a middle class town. And when I came back like 15 years later, it had like become a snobby, it had a snobby reputation. A lot happened. I don't know what it
yeah,
was.
Roots is a steakhouse now. Back then, it was a place my mom would save up 3 years to buy me a suit. So,
From Adolf Root. My father knew
yep,
him. Yeah. Not
small
many
world.
Adolfs around
Was
anymore.
he a Jewish Adolf?
He was. But there are not many
No,
more around. You don't name that name is kind of like maybe a
wore
dog.
out. wore out its welcome.
My friend lives near Central Park. He's got a white dog named Whitey. And I'm like, you're in Central Park at night yelling, Whitey, Whitey, Whitey. You're going to attract attention. It might not, you don't know. It's
Maybe
better than.
maybe we meant Whitey Bulger, the mobster from Boston. Maybe that. Ask him.
Ooh, Whitey Herzog from St. Louis.
Go.
I was in St. Louis when they went to the World Series 2 years in a row.
Whitey Ford, great Yankee pitcher, although I'm a Red Yankee hater, but he was a great Yankee pitcher. So, yeah.
What else? What else do we have to talk about? Some in high school. Aileen Johnson, my favorite chemistry teacher. Angelo Marola, the band director, who's no longer with us. I don't know about Aileen.
I remember Mr. Marola. Yeah, absolutely. It's a small world. Jeez.
Were you in the band or anything of that?
Yeah, it was cool, man. I was in the band.
Yeah, okay. Let me guess the instrument. Were you the marching cellist?
Hell no. I can barely walk and chew gum. So, saxophone, alto sax. So.
Are you kidding me?
No.
You're kidding.
No, that was my thing.
Did you have him as a band director?
I had him. I had who was the guy with the slick back black hair from the junior high?
Loretti?
Yes, Mr. Loretti. Yep.
Larry?
Jazz band.
Did you know I happen to play the alto saxophone?
Are you about to pull it out and play with it?
Well, I was thinking of that, but let me get the sax. Okay.
How low can we go?
I've got it. I got it set up. I was thinking I need to put it away because it's been out for like 2 months without getting a toot through it. So, let's see.
Doug Tubin.
I once brought it to a comedy routine with me to perform with it, and not really to play, but I tried delivering my jokes through it. And I did that. I kept up with it for like 30 seconds, longer than I should have. I thought it was funny.
I thought you probably killed Doug.
So let's talk comedy, horrible comedy moments or whatever.
Bad, horrible.
Have you ever had to lecture an audience for being inappropriate, for not laughing when they should have, or laughing when they shouldn't have? You ever have that?
I'm sure I'm guilty of that, probably many, many times over, because
me too.
I'm so on point, and I'm just like a machine gun with my delivery, and people can't keep up. So yeah, I'm sure I did that.
You keep an audience on the edge of your seat. The last time you performed, I saw you perform, I think 4 chairs broke from metal fatigue. The people they were just shaking, waiting for it, waiting, but they're waiting, These jealous comics, I had one go after me, snipe after me today, giving me a cricket logo. I made some comment about something on Facebook. Crickets. People accuse me of curing crickets. I'm like, I love that. I love that in a routine. You're delivering, you're up there doing stand-up comedy. You pause and there's total silence in the room. And you let that go on. I love that. It means they're listening, They're not rattling the plates. They want to know what did you do to that dog? I want to know. They're with you.
Oh man, you're so much fun, Doug. I'm so glad to be here.
Okay, let's re-record that
Did it-
last bit with feeling. Yeah. Well, listen,
So I-
I'm glad you're pitching in. I really appreciate it. I
What do you want to
didn't
know?
tell Tom.
What do you want to?
What?
What do you want to know about me? Ask some questions, Doug. Ask some
Um,
questions.
Was your
Pretend you don't know me.
favorite time ever on performing comedy?
Favorite time
Ever performing comedy?
ever?
Or within the top, 2 or 3 moments that come to your mind?
Well, this is, geez, I'm getting old. I can't forget names, but I went on tour a little bit with the guy from Good Times. I can't even remember his name. That was
AJ?
Walker. Thank you. That was fun. Deep in the deep South. Yes, a Jew and a black.
Larry, I remember I've heard you talking about him, but I don't know that you did that. So
Yep.
What was that like?
That it was fun for me. I'm for him. It's just another gig. But I got to go down, drive 6 hours to a couple weekends to do stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. So how did they take with the Jew?
It was great. People are people anywhere you go. Even if they come in their coveralls and their bare feet, who cares? So.
I had an
It's a
image
South.
from a club. I've told this story many times of seeing 2 definite anti-Semites staring at me before a show began for like 10 minutes. No, for what, 10 minutes? For 2 hours. We were there early. And it unnerved me. And it's very bigoted of me to condemn the entire state. So I'm not doing that, Pennsylvania. But Tom loves the Knights of Columbus and places like that. And I've had this thought more than often, that more than 70% are thinking Jew. Yeah, probably. That's,
I like KFC too, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That's a good opener.
I'm just trying to pick up where Tom.
I am ready, but I'm ready. I'm ready for my deep South or urban performance. My opening will be "My father was a slave."
He built the pyramids.
Born in Babylonia, moved to Arizona. Yeah. Okay, so this is live radio, Larry Goldberg, who, as audience, notice how he's moving along the show with me.
Quite terribly and
no, we're almost potentially we could almost be done with this. We yank another 10 minutes out of some place and we're pretty well, maybe not. Maybe another half an hour. Jesus. You know any songs?
Speaking of songs, how about Springsteen getting busted for DUI? I meant that's freaking amazing. Although I'd say if he only blew a .02, that's pretty wimpy. I mean, I blow a .03 getting out of bed on Saturday. So .05 at lunch.
What's the legal? What are the? Are you aware of the legal limits? Like what's?
Yeah, .08. .08
is intoxicated. Okay, .02.
Yeah. Yep.
So he's kind of a wimp. I guess it got it was enough that he was affected by it. But so I don't think a lot about that, to be honest. What do you think about that?
It doesn't change my opinion of him. I still follow the music, man, even if he's one of those liberal bleeding hearts,
Even though, I
though.
know some people they're fanatical about him. They're fanatical. I never got that fanatical about him. But then again, I spent 16 years in St. Louis. So I missed a lot of him coming up and being excited about it being, around here for one.
St. Louis, then you were probably either a deadhead or you following Chuck Berry, you know?
I love both. I remember one night I literally had a scene in East St. Louis. I went with the 5 Japanese dancers who lived above me. Um, in my junior year, we went to East St. Louis, an all black jazz club. And I walk in with 4 or 5 beautiful Japanese women, all Asian. And the guy started coming up.
Wait. Japanese is Asian?
I know one was actually half Japanese, half Jewish. Another was, I think, Korean. So they weren't all Japanese anyway. But guys started coming up and saying, can I dance with this one? And I'm like, I'm not. Anyway, they all got up and danced and loved it. But there was some movie where that was a scene in it might have been Animal House.
Animal House. May we dance with your dates?
It happened to me. And actually, I think the one of the authors went to my college. I think he went to Wash U. One of the authors of Animal House, I believe. Maybe I'm thinking National Lampoon. It might have been both.
Same thing.
Back in the day, did I hear Mad Magazine is done? Not to skip around, but
yeah, Mad went down last year, didn't it?
Yeah. It's hard keeping up with who's dead and who's not,
So my wife said to me last week, and she said, "Bring me home a newspaper, not anything else. You think, what's a newspaper?" So I picked up a Ledger and a New York Post, Star Ledger. How much do you think, Doug? Saturday paper.
Saturday paper. I think it was $4.50.
$7 for the 2 of them.
Wow.
I looked at her when I dropped on the table and I said, "This hurts my heart. I will never. This is the last paper you'll ever read. Make sure you frame it. Make it an antique."
My dad was getting the Times. My dad was getting the Times every day and the Ledger, both papers every day. And when he died, I saw how much he was paying for them. I canceled them. So I've been getting these. I actually got to really enjoy the Times, but it's really expensive. So I've been getting offers from the Times, and now the Washington Post is even more desperate. They're offering online coverage for a year for $24. It's actually pretty good. But I honestly miss it. And Stephanie misses the crossword puzzles. She was very good at it.
Honestly, the fonts are too small for me. On the
Why
print.
don't you get the New York Times Old Person's edition? The only problem is it's like, really thick. So you need to bring your cart with you.
Nah, I like my smartphone where I can make the font like size 20 alpha Gothic Romantic numeral or something. I love chuckling at my own stupid humor.
I do the same. That's why I like you, Larry. I do the same thing, and it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. I was thinking in my head that the way this would work is if I rant about myself and then make sure I give you time to do that about yourself, and we'll just keep on going back and forth about how incredible we are. Yeah.
I did. Did you get the vaccine, Doug? Let's talk about the vaccine.
I got both shots. And I'm fully immune. I am.
Let me see your tuchus.
Okay, but If you
Which
want.
one did? Which one? No, thank you. Which one did you get?
I got both Pfizer's. I guess that's what they have to do. They have to follow up with the same one. But at some point, they'll start messing that up, and we'll get some data on how Pfizer and Moderna mix with. What did you get?
I got Pfizer also. I got Pfizer, but I took my. No, I felt good. I took my wife. We had to go all the way down to Cherry Hill. My wife and my daughter, they got the Moderna vaccine. So, and they haven't turned into the Hulk yet, so they're not green and they're not big.
So that was the first one? That was the first one? And when's their second?
Next week.
Okay, good.
Next week.
So, the light is coming, it seems, right?
Yeah, I don't get it. The anti-vaccine people, let's not get on. Let's stay positive and light, Doug.
Larry, you know something? I'm glad you brought it up, though, because I had a Facebook friend who I know in real life. I did not know some things about him, but he was against the vaccine for these crazy conspiracy reasons. One, because it's the mark of the devil, mark of the beast. And that was proof because of the bracelet they wear in Israel saying, I've got the vaccine. But evidently that's the mark of the beast. There was a microchip embedded in the vaccine, and it's being used as a form of mind control. Okay. Larry Goldberg, lift your right hand, lift your right hand, lift your right. So that was one. Yeah, they believe. So that, but the other is that its vaccine patent number is 666. Mm-hmm. But really, it's a patent number for some Microsoft invention that allows devices in your proximity to know that they're in your proximity and to interact with one another. And the patent for that was like, TL020206060602L. So it had 3 6s in it. So now, like if your phone number, if you're a business and your phone number has 3 6s in it, all along people have been figuring this is the work of the devil. I'm not calling that place. Your social security number has 3 6s in it. That's the mark.
Oh, give up. What the vaccine?
And it frightens me because a lot of these people are seriously pro-life, but they're willing to risk their lives, the lives of their friends and family, and total strangers over this crazy belief. And you know something? I don't hate these people. I hate the people that are spewing and creating these theories and having it go around, and the people that allow them to have a forum without stopping them.
These falsehoods and believe in false gods. I get it, Doug. I totally get it. I'm with you, bro.
Trump had a golden idol of him at the CPAC convention. It was great. You had to have seen that?
Yes. The golden calf. I know. I remember.
Oh, so we also haven't talked since the insurrection. That was good times.
I don't have any words for that, Doug.
It was a very sad day. And I saw it going down. I heard him. I was watching him talking down the street. Go and march on the Capitol. I will lead you. Well, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. I heard him say that. I'm like, fuck. And he was going on. I was ranting on Facebook because I could see him going off the rails there. He at one point, he said something about Oprah not returning his phone calls or texts or something like that. at a Stop the Steal rally, and he's railing about Oprah and Larry Goldberg is it? He didn't return my email. Okay, your time, Larry. What do you want to talk about, buddy?
Ask me some questions of you've met my wife, so I'm in an interracial marriage. Is that cancel culture to say that? Please, can I say
And
that?
this has been Funny Talk with Manjeli and Max, and the final guest appearance of Larry. All I can tell you is I don't. It's not cancel culture. Marilyn is who Marilyn is, and she's a lovely woman. And even though you totally preyed on her as a professional at the time, it was worth it. I know you were sly about it. I know you were cagey.
I followed her a little bit.
Marilyn, hi, this is Larry from HR. We've had some accusations against you. Would you please come up to my office? Oh, Mr. Larry, I didn't mean to touch him there. Well, Marilyn, these are very...
Okay, Mr. Bill, you sound like Mr. Bill. Now, she told me no a lot of times, but she finally she saw the light, Doug. She saw the light, and she converted. So there you go.
So she saw the light, and then you closed the shutter on her.
Yep. Yeah. And then she converted to Jamaicanism.
Very funny.
She's West Indian. I forgot to say that. I'm really blowing up this spot today. I'm killing it.
So what was her religion? What was her faith growing up?
Mostly Seventh-day Adventist.
Very serious then. Yeah.
Yep.
It's hard to pull that off around here these days anymore. You know?
Hard to pull anything off. Can't pull anything off.
Listen, we've got Snopes, so, we'll find out.
Yep.
We'll find the truth. Although some people don't, and it still baffles me. You're familiar with the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Doug, you're smarter than me. You use so many big words. You're like my wife. I don't know big words.
Dunning-Kruger. It's hyphenated. It's not a big word. It's a hyphenated. It's a compound word, meaning that there are an awful lot of people that are uninformed, but they don't know they're uninformed. So they're being preyed on, is the way I look at them. IQ is normally distributed. There are a lot of very simple, well-meaning, wonderful people. I have some really, really dear friends who are fucking morons. And you know these people. How can you not like them?
They don't know what they don't know.
They don't know what they don't know. It's not their butt. The people that are telling them the lies and that are paying the bills for the radio and TV stations that are telling them the lies, those people are smart enough to know the difference between, reality and
unreality.
Bizarro world. Yeah. So that's what upsets me. I get upset thinking, how can these people tell these lies and continue to have an FCC license? Whereas if you're an aspirin maker and they find, a 0.0001% of silica in your aspirin, your
toast or their toast, whatever.
But we have so many standards, you can't have salmonella in your chicken. Don't eat the romaine. They find these things. But how can you miss all the lies? Or what?
E. coli.
E. coli, yep.
It's a double standard. It's like doing or triple standard. It's like what's his name? Ronnie Dangerfield doing the triple Indy back to school.
You got me on that one. But I know the
Triple
lingo.
entendres.
You got me on that one. Anywho, there was a comedian who said, yeah, did you hear about the romaine lettuce? I wonder where that came from. Where did it come from? If you live in Mexico and you just heard the things that the president said about and not letting Mexicans in, and you're packaging up a shipment of lettuce that's about to go to the U.S., you're going to take a crap on that lettuce.
This is great, Doug. I'm just laying it out, setting you up.
Happy Passover, Hag Sameach, everyone.
You're just hitting it out of the park, bro.
I did not tell my favorite Passover story, though. I should probably save that for another time.
Save it for Good Friday.
Save it for when? Yeah.
Good Friday.
Yeah.
Or Bad Friday.
I've told this story before, but one of my favorite stories was the first time I'd ever heard about the joke The Aristocrats. I'd never heard about it. And I knew that a movie had come out, but I hadn't seen it. So I didn't really know what it was all about. And I'm at Thanksgiving dinner with my sons, who are maybe 8 and 10 at the time, and my ex-Catholic Italian wife and her aunt's kids, and her son-in-law's mother was there too, who happens to be Jewish. And she brought up the story of the Aristocrats. And I'm like, I'd never heard of it. What's it like? And she's like, well, it's like blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And then they tell you the most like disgusting thing in the world. And she went on. We're at Thanksgiving dinner. And she went on. Like the dad got on top of the daughter and took a crap on her. And I'm thinking inside, I couldn't laugh. This was one of those moments where I really wanted to laugh, but my ex is, across it, and my kids are there. And I just think this is like the best Thanksgiving ever. You would have loved that moment, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you have
Absolutely.
taken it with great aplomb? I know you would have.
I love plums. I love prunes. Yes, I would have.
We would have gotten you any one of the fruits you wanted, Lair. So you started going by Lair Gull, by the way, for those of you who want to follow Larry on Facebook.
Yep.
Lar Gull.
But a friend of mine said, and I'm so slow. I'm a little slow, Doug, as my wife said, slow-mo Larry, instead of Shlomo Larry.
That was nice of her.
One of my friends said I should rename it. Apparently, is there some superhero or something called Goldlar? So he said I should do Gold, or something. I forgot what it was, but he showed me, and he sent me a picture of it, and it's like an action figure or something. I think it's called Goldlar, so I think I'm going to change it to Goldlar. So I don't know.
That would be good too. But I got to tell you, Largol reminds me of one of my funniest stories ever. A friend of mine calls me up. He goes, Doug, I met the woman I'm going to marry. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Tell me about her, blah, blah, blah. And he's going on and on. And so finally I get to, so when did you meet? Oh, I haven't met her yet. Like, fast forward 2 months. They've been dating. He's in love with her. So, buddy, what's her name? I can't pronounce it. What? He said, well, she's from Kazakhstan. You got to trill the R and trill the G. So it sounds kind of like, not quite Largol, but kind of like Lurgle. And I'm like, if I was making love to a woman whose name had a trilled R and a trilled G, and got to that moment where you want to say, you got to say her name at some point. You got to let her know you remember her name. I would not be able to say that name and continue on, if you don't get my drift.
Yep. Doug, using these words, trill. What is a trill? I see that on like the subtitles on Netflix and Amazon. Insects
Oh,
trilling.
oh, yeah. So the Scot here. So a trill. A Scot will um do a triple trill, and an Irish will do a double trill. Um, I'm trying to think of a word with a trill in it. Hoot. No, I need a word with an R. Root. Root versus root. Root. I can't do it. Anyway, that's a trill. Brr. You used to do that on a
You
saxophone.
think Tom is listening?
Didn't you do that on a saxophone? You'd do a trill. You'd go back and forth between a B and a B flat. Remember that?
I don't remember. B, C, E, minor, major, whatever. It's all Greek to me now, Doug.
Should we wish Tom well, or have you enjoyed doing the show with me, Larry? Because, you know, I've been doing this with Tom for a very long time, Larry. He's a nice guy and all, you know, but he's pretty unreliable, like he got the COVID, you know?
I think I can cut him some slack there. You know, that's like...
Yeah, you try to cut him some slacks. It'll take you 3 weeks. And you'd have to sharpen the scissors so many times. You'd give up. You would not get to the sewing. Like there'd be enough thread. Tom, get better.
I mean, you know, it's COVID. It's pretty, it's pretty contagious. You know, it's like syphilis, gonorrhea. You know.
All I can say is he did what I'm looking forward to do, and that's performing in a tent for some strippers. I heard that's a good gig, and now I'm 90% safe from them. You know.
Well, I really hope he's okay. Let's say, Doug, say something nice for him. I can't think of anything.
Say something nice for who?
For Tom.
Don't die, buddy. We love you. How hard is it to say something nice? Cut him some slacks.
Comics are the worst health to support emotionally or health-wise.
And please don't use the word support when talking about Tom either, because it makes me think of it makes me think of the unimaginable Larry. Okay, we've lost our viewer, I think.
All half of them.
Larry, I needed to talk to you, buddy. You know, I'll tell you one thing. We got together. For people that don't know, Larry and I are actual real friends, and I'm crying. That's good. That's good comedy when I cry. Thank you.
I'll cry at your wedding too, Doug.
Thank you.
You and Stephanie.
Yeah, you'll cry. You'll be screaming. Where did they get this rabbi from?
From Heidelberg. Actual friends. It's a good one.
I really like you. I really do. You were one of the few like real honest people that I met. You were like weren't trying to pretend something other than you were. And there were so many people that were just you know, you see them at a comedy show and they're not authentic and they're not really who they are. No.
Yeah. I appreciate actual. The word actual, it's good. It's like comorbidity.
And I loved your act. I really loved your act. And what I loved about it most was I saw so many commonalities in so much of your humor is hiding in between where people don't suspect it to be. It's in the best places, you know? And I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, it's, you know, the way you tell the story and the delivery and the, I can feel myself with you. You convey emotion very well, I think.
Grassy ass.
Huh? What?
Grassy ass. Grassy ass. Ah, and you're very funny, man, Dougie.
I try. But one of the problems too is I have enough places where I'm comfortable in, and for some reason they let me perform still. That I'm like happy I get my fill of comedy. So I don't have the drive. I see a lot of the younger comics. Listen, if you're younger and you really want to do comedy as a business, you're you're either really really talented and need to be focused and or you're an idiot.
Or you have rich parents, or both. So,
um so were you hooked right away? What tell me about your
oh yeah,
first comedy. Tell me about your first comedy event.
my first comedy event was a class, a semi bringer at the comic strip 30 years ago.
Jesus.
But I didn't stick with it. I should have stuck with it. It was fun. There's a comic out there. He used to teach a class at the new school, and he's a great comic, and he's a commentator on CNN and other places. Scott Blakeman, and we did it, man. We did a class, and then we had a event at the comic strip, and all I remember is a friend of mine going, "Hey Larry, I just saw this kid, Chris Rock. He's really funny." That's what I took away from the evening.
We've had Chips Cooney on the show, and he tells the story of seeing Chris Rock perform and telling some club owner to go in and listen to this kid. I hate comics like that. Like there are people out there going, "Hey, you should go up and this guy's telling the story about making a dog really happy. You should go up and listen to it."
Some people are, it's like, sports. Some people are really good at observation and coaching, and sometimes they're right. That's all, whether you like it or not.
I don't know if it's right or wrong, but the one piece of advice I took from comedy class was it's your own journey. It's basically like, the fuck are you paying for this comedy class for? You know,
Yep,
take
it is.
everything.
Well, I mean, it's just like anything: music, sports, any other type of entertainment. It's your journey, not somebody else's. You
And
got
the
to
more you
figure it
do
out.
it, the more you do it, the
Yep,
better you get at it.
do the work.
Yep. Yep. Or come on, Funny Talk with Mangelli and Max.
That's right. It's good. That's very arithmetical, or whatever you call that. Mangelli and Max. Big words.
We
Doug.
went we
I don't
went
know.
back and forth. We wanted to do we were thinking of naming the show Ham and Rye, WRY, but figured it wouldn't come across well in an audio version as a podcast only if people weren't seeing the ham on rye and that very clever rye play on words.
Well, if you are getting an audience like you described out in Pennsylvania or other places, they probably wouldn't understand the word rye. They're thinking whiskey, not or rye bread.
That would have been a better. I should have called it deer and rye. Speaking of deer, you know what I think of when I think of deer? That's funny.
What? Tell me, Doug.
Woody
Tell me,
Allen's
bro.
deer story. Do you remember? Did you ever hear his shooting? Oh, shooting a moose.
Shooting a moose. Yes.
You heard his
that.
shooting the moose story? Okay. Well, we can stop free associating, Larry. We've
Yeah,
technically
I'm terrible at free associating, especially after
no,
10
you've done
hours in
great.
the office.
Yeah, I know, and we've done it. We've done it for an hour. We've done our time. Our time is done.
I don't like anything free. Um,
Yeah, right. Anyway, speaking of anything free, for only $1.95, you're welcome to come back. We'll have a barbecue. You can help me do some gardening and painting.
no, Marilyn will help you. I supervise.
Okay. Good. As long as you know your place in the
Yeah.
system, that's important. That's how progress is made.
Yep.
Larry, it's really been a pleasure. The time went really quickly, and I really have missed talking to you. I've missed talking to a lot of people, but like I said, you're one of my favorite people. I can't think of anybody I like more than you, again, except, you know, Tom and Suzanne, Randy, Sandy, Julia. That's pretty good. I'm 64. I've known a lot of people. And for you to be like eight,
Tense.
no, eight. Yeah, no, you're nine. Nine. Yeah, Larry, I've lived life. What can I say? There have been others.
That's fine, Dougie. Dougie Wuggy, I've had a good time.
I really like you a lot more than a lot of those people. I like you a lot more than Tom too. But in case he's listening, you're 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 after Tom and Bobby Gaines because I don't want to put you in front of him and have his people come after me like a racist.
No. Bobby's the man.
He is. I love him.
Yep. Yep.
Not Gerald Benford, who will never come on the show again.
What did you do to him?
I didn't do anything to him. He came on our show and he started acting like it was his own show, and he started to advertise his line of specialty lotion, Negro lotion. He did a commercial for Negro cream or Negro lotion. I took great offense. And for those listening, Gerald Benford is black, so you know. So he probably it's okay for him, but people listening didn't know he was black. And I'm thinking, oh my God, we've offended our audience. I've forgiven him. He can come back. Okay. I really like him.
I'll hit him up after this. Tell him to be on next week. He can guest host.
I'm actually I want to but I want my picture on the bottle of lotion.
See, now you stepped over the line, Doug. This was fun.
A grandfather says to his grandson, It's so hot outside. How about you and I go for a walk to the watering hole nearby?" "Okay, granddad." So they go for a hike and they're walking along a chain link fence towards the quarry area. And the son and the grandson sees a sign. He says, "Grandfather, look at the sign. It says no swimming allowed." And the grandfather looks at the sign and says, "No, swimming allowed."
No, swimming allowed. Yeah, okay. I got it, Doug. Got it. Thank you. What time is
it? So you've been listening for some, we don't know why. You don't know why. But it's gone. The time is done. What do you think? Are there's one or two listening still? None? No, we haven't aired it yet, so nobody's listening right now, but they will. Somebody will.
0.0.
Listen, when this airs, I'm gonna listen to it. So there'll be one person to listen. Larry, it's really been a pleasure. Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything coming up? Anything? Shout outs, birthdays, anniversaries, anything?
I'll plug my ride home for the next hour. So there you go.
Larry, thank you so much for giving us your time at the end of a very busy day. We really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you, Doug. I'll talk to you. Thank you,
Hey,
sir.
buddy.